What's up, guys? This is my video on my holdings in the stock market and other markets. I have about 30 to 35 holdings generally at any time, and these are my top 10. My largest holding is Apple. I hold about 1,800 shares. I'm up probably over $120,000. I still think there's a little bit more room to run, but I would like to trade some covered calls on this one. I think that could be interesting if it runs up a little bit high. It's still a company I believe in. One of the great American companies. Also, I wouldn't want to trigger a tax event on this, and I still think there's a lot of room to go, so this is a position I would stick to and just keep running with it. It's very good when you have 100 shares of something and when you can sort of choose areas to take off some risk, when you can write either a protective put or a covered call. Google is my second largest position. It's a total of 77 shares I have in my portfolio. This is actually the one that I believe most in right now. I think it's up the least for 2020 out of all the big, large tech stocks, and I bought a few more in the past. I'm sort of cautious, but this is something I believe in that will long term go up. This is a stock with a 32 price earnings ratio, and it used to trade at a 32 price earnings ratio when Apple was trading at an 18 price ratio and Microsoft was at 20 or 22, and now Microsoft and Apple have exceeded the 32 while Google still trades at a 32 price earnings ratio, and I think it's undervalued for that reason. My third largest holding is Amazon. I hold just 26 shares, but it's still an $85,000 position. I'm up roughly $40,000 in the position, and I've been buying it since 5 years ago. I remember my first share, I bought it at $600, and it's been pretty good ever since. My fourth largest holding is JD. I have 900 shares. It's a roughly $75,000 position, but I'm up around $50,000. I think I started purchasing it at, I think, 34, and it actually went down below 20. I bought, actually, some of my last shares I purchased were at just $20 flat, and it's been a pretty good stock. It was referred to as the Amazon of China, and I know I sort of missed the boat on Amazon, so I wanted to get involved in something that was similar, that caters to, I guess, potentially over a billion consumers in China. So I felt it was a good opportunity at the time. There were some hiccups along the way, but overall, I still think it's a pretty good stock to invest in. I still think it's, we're in the beginning innings, but I'm not in China, so I don't really understand the environment there, so it might be a little risky, but with a little more risk comes a little more reward as well. My fifth largest position is in Facebook. I hold 228 shares. It's a $72,000 position. I'm up around $12,000. It's a relatively new position, though I've had not too many shares, but I increased it so I could trade covered calls on it, and I think it has a lot of room to run, but I think there's also some volatility. Alibaba is my sixth largest position. I hold 200 shares. It's a $64,000 position. I did get caught in a couple of covered calls in it right now, which I'm down around $4,000. I'd like to try and get out of them, and maybe I'll share them with you guys later. My eighth largest holding is JP Morgan. I have 450 shares of it. It's roughly $40,000 position. not really up much in it, but it's also something to write covered calls on and make a little extra income over the dividend. It's not something that I really feel is running up, but I think it's fairly valued at this point. My ninth largest holding is Bitcoin. I hold just around 3 Bitcoins, and the total value is about 35,000. I'm not really up much in it, but I did buy it a little over 2.5 years ago, and it's starting to look good. It's not something that I would continue to buy. It's something that I would just hold on to, and hopefully we'll see what happens. It's more of a lottery ticket at this point. My last position in the top 10 is Goldman Sachs. I have just over 200 shares. It's roughly $20,000 position. It's sort of a value stock, which I think could go up in the long term. I just think banks are really depressed right now, and they pay some sort of dividend, and they've been quite stable. Anyway, these are my top 10 holdings right now, and I really like to trade covered calls around my portfolio. Maybe I could share more of those. I have if you'd like to see, I have a Alibaba, 2 covered calls on them. I'm down around $4,000 right now. We'll see. Maybe I'll put out a video on that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you.